Welcome to Flashcard Fridays at Math Science History. I'm your host, Gabrielle Birchak, and as we continue on our vacation series, we're going to venture deep into the rainforests of the 19th century with one of the greatest naturalists you may not know about, Alfred Russel Wallace. So I'm going to talk about how an expedition and a little fever led to one of the most important ideas in science. But first, a word from our advertisers. So who was Alfred Russel Wallace? Well, he was born in 1823 in Wales and grew up during a time of dramatic scientific curiosity and change. Unlike some of his contemporaries, Wallace wasn't born into wealth. He trained as a surveyor, worked as a teacher, and supported himself through intense dedication and long, grueling expeditions where he collected specimens for sale. In 1848, driven by a thirst for adventure and science, Wallace embarked on his first major expedition to the Amazon basin. Tragically, much of what he collected there was lost when his ship caught fire on the return voyage. But Wallace didn't let this setback stop him. Instead, it fueled his determination. Just a few years later, in 1854, Wallace set out again, this time to the Malay Archipelago, modern-day Malaysia and Indonesia, an expedition that would last 8 years and change the world forever. While exploring the tropical rainforests of the Malay Archipelago, Wallace encountered incredible biodiversity. Birds of paradise, giant butterflies, and countless insects and plants. It was a dreamland for a naturalist who was hungry to understand how such incredible diversity came to be. In 1858, while on the island of Halmahera, Wallace was struck down by a severe bout of malaria. As he lay in his hut burning with a fever, a profound idea crystallized in his mind. Drawing on years of observations, Wallace realized that species are not fixed. They change over time. He concluded that the mechanism driving this change was the struggle for existence. Individuals better adapted to their environment would survive and reproduce, passing on their advantageous traits. In essence, natural selection. When Wallace recovered enough to write, he quickly drafted an essay outlining his theory. With no hesitation or ego, he sent it to Charles Darwin, a fellow naturalist whom he greatly admired, asking for Darwin's opinion. The result? Darwin, who had been quietly developing a very similar theory for decades but hesitated to publish, was astonished. Their joint theories were presented together at the Linnean Society of London in July 1858. This was a pivotal moment in scientific history. And though Darwin would go on to be far more famous for the idea of evolution by natural selection, Wallace's insights were absolutely foundational. Wallace's contribution wasn't just his theory of natural selection. His meticulous work in the Malay Archipelago reshaped how we understand the geographical distribution of species. Today, we still talk about the Wallace Line, an invisible boundary between Asia and Australia that separates species of distinctly different origins. On one side, tigers and elephants. On the other side, kangaroos and cockatoos. Wallace noticed that animals on islands only a few miles apart could be vastly different. A groundbreaking observation that supported the idea that species evolved differently based on their environments. Alfred Russel Wallace continued to have a fascinating career. He explored the ethics of science, delved into early theories of ecology, advocated for environmental conservation, and even explored ideas outside the scientific mainstream, like spiritualism. While Darwin's name became nearly synonymous with evolution, Wallace's contributions remained vital. In fact, some modern scientists argue that Wallace deserves even greater recognition as the co-discoverer of one of biology's greatest principles. Wallace's life reminds us that discoveries don't always happen in comfortable laboratories or prestigious universities. Sometimes they emerge from hardship, isolation, and the relentless pursuit of curiosity. So what can we take away from Alfred Russel Wallace's expedition? Well, great ideas can arise from great hardships. Wallace's theory of natural selection came during a time of intense physical suffering and isolation. This reminds us that perseverance even under the harshest conditions, can lead to profound breakthroughs. Also, Wallace's real-world observations, not just reading books, were critical. Expeditions are powerful classrooms. He noticed patterns across thousands of miles and dozens of species, teaching us the importance of getting out in the world to truly understand it. Finally, even though Wallace independently developed the theory of natural selection, he generously shared it with Darwin, leading to a partnership that forever changed science. Science is a collaboration. Wallace's humility and commitment to advancing knowledge over personal fame is a lesson for us all. So the next time you're sweating through a tough project, hiking through an unknown territory, or simply feeling stuck, remember Alfred Russel Wallace, the self-taught naturalist who, through a combination of exploration, careful observation, and a fever, unlocked one of nature's greatest secrets. Thank you for joining me at Flashcard Fridays here at Math Science History. I'm Gabrielle Birchak, and if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe and rate the show. Oh, and share this with a few lovers of discovery. And until next time, carpe diem.